Hi, my beautiful friends. In today's episode, I want to share with you all about clearing space, making way for new opportunities, for a new abundance, for new manifestations of what you bring into your life. But we have to clear out the old, right? We have to get rid of what's cluttering our mind or cluttering our environment or cluttering our energy to bring new things in. It's like out with the old, in with the new. You close one door behind you and open a new one in front of you. So I'm going to share with you a story of how we got a new jet ski and how all of this come about, but the energetics behind it, the really fundamental, important beliefs, the important spiritual component that I think a lot of people miss out on, don't understand, don't know it exists, don't know how to use it. And just, this is going to open your eyes to a bigger picture. This is going to help you bring in more of what you want into your life. Why? Letting go of what's no longer serving you, letting go of what's been blocking you and holding you back. And I've got a few examples that I'll share with you today, but then I want you to think, as we go through this episode, I really want you to think about, even while I'm talking, whatever comes up, allow to come up. So what's coming up for you that you need to release or let go of, or that's cluttering your energy field, your environment, your headspace. So think about how this relates to you, okay? So funny story, we've needed a new jet ski for a little while. We've got two, Brocky's got one, and we've got one that we've had for like 10 years now. And it's been great to ski for our family, particularly like when the kids were little, we would take them out, go and have amazing adventures with our friends. And that's what brought us this love for the water and why we wanted to live on the water one day, because we just love exploring, we love adventure, love getting out in nature. So we wanted a house where we could just walk down the jetty, jump on and just go out into nature's playground, because we love it out here so much. And so we've had this ski for a while, and it come time where it was just having a few faults, like it's just old, right? It's just old. Then my son got older and he started taking it out. Then obviously more stuff went wrong with it, having teenage boys out there riding them. And so we decided that I said to Tom, we wanted a new one, but we've been putting a lot of money into the house and a whole heap of things going on. And then it got winter. We went, we'll just kind of wait till next spring. And I had in my mind, when spring starts, we're going to have a new jet ski. So we're in the end of, when we got it was the end of September. And we have a couple of dry docks down here. And I said to Tom, I said, your old ski, our old ski, it's taking up space. Like, we need to get rid of it, just sell it, get rid of it to bring a new one in. And we spoke about this for a little while and it still sat there. And then spring kind of rolled around and I said, babe, just get rid of it. Get rid of it. It is going to open up space for a new one. We're going to have this empty dry dock down there. I'm going to look at it and be sad and go, you know, I want another ski. But it's going to just energetically create this field of something new is coming in. It's creating space. And I started to visualize a new one down on the pontoon. I didn't want a brand spanking new one because I've got teenagers, they've got friends, and I didn't want, I know me, and I know if I have a brand spanking new one, and our last one was brand spanking new, I know that I will be freaking out a lot more when all these kids are out playing on it. So I was like, I want a new, I don't want an old one either, because they have problems. And especially with skis and things like that, you just don't know how well they've been looked after. So I wanted one that was relatively, say, within 1 or 2 years old, relatively new, low hours. So skis are hours, not kilometers. So really, really low hours, being well looked after. And that's what I envisioned having down on the dry dock. So Tom got rid of the old ski. He, that was in, just at the beginning of spring or the end of August, he got rid of the ski. So we had this dry dock empty for a little while. I would look down there and I would dream about, okay, we're going to have a couple more skis down there because I want to have enough for my family, my nieces and nephews, my friends. Like, I just want to have enough that we can just go out and have fun and just whoever's here, just jump on and let's go kind of thing. So I started visualizing all around what I wanted. And I let go of the how. Like, it doesn't matter how it comes in. It's the energy of what you want, right? It's the energy of what you envisage. And so I held this vision of, this is what I want, and I just had the faith that there's one out there. So then I started making a couple of, well, only one actually, a phone call. I rang because I'm like, I'm not waiting for Tom. He's busy with work. I'll just do it myself. So I was ringing. I was speaking to a guy from JSW, the jet ski and water sport place where we've got our old Sea-Doo from, and I said to him, he was telling me the prices of like the new ones. They range anywhere from 26 to 30 grand. And I said, do you get any near new ones that are like 12 months old, 2 years old with really low hours on them? He said they come in and they get snapped up. He said, we don't really tend to have a lot of them. Obviously, he wants to sell me one of his own stock too. And he said they're really hard to come by. Like, you're not going to get one. They're so hard to come by, particularly with the ones that you want. And I thought to myself, as I always do, I only need one. I only need one ski, right? And so I told all this to Tom. I said, they've got a sale on at the moment. It's down to, it was around like 23,000 with some old run out stock. And we kind of just sat with it. But I kept thinking, I'm going to freak out if I get a brand new one and the kids are going to, I'm just worried they're going to trash it. Not that they don't have respect for things, but they're teenage boys, right? And so I thought to myself, all right, there's one out there. I'm just going to send that energy out to the universe and it'll come in. If it's meant to be, it will be, right? Whatever's meant to be will be. I'm not holding control over the conditions of how it's going to show up or what's going to show up. I'm just going to put it out there. So anyway, we were at Riley's 21st birthday party. We're doing a deal making, well, Tom was buying a ski at Riley's 21st birthday party. So how this all come about was, we had friends of ours who were at the party and they said, one of their sons is best friends with Brock. They ski to each other's houses and they said their other son, who's a bit older, he's got a mate selling a ski. They said this guy is really wealthy, he's got a Lamborghini, the boys are frothing over his Lamborghini, and they said he bought this ski, he doesn't use it. It's got really low hours on it. It was like 13 hours or something. And he just wants to get rid of it. So Tom started chatting with this guy at the party. Lo and behold, we picked up this ski. It was near new. It had done like, I think about 13, it was under 20 hours, like 13 hours, which is literally maybe 2 trips out on the water and that's it. It's sitting on its dry dock. He's selling it. So we ended up picking it up for, it was around 17,000. And it come with this, obviously the ski, a brand new cover. The covers are around $500. It come with 3 like really nice Sea-Doo Jet Pilot life jackets. They're around $180 each. Accessories, anchors, like all the bits and pieces. It has the music system on it that Tom wanted. I don't care because I like peace out there, but it's a bit of fun. So it had the music system, it had everything, and it come with a dry dock, another dry dock, right? These dry docks are around 3 to 5 grand, depending if you get, anyway, a whole lot of variables. They're between 3 and 5 grand. This ski has barely been ridden. It's just been serviced. It is in immaculate condition. So we just went and looked at it. Tom had, and this is another action as well, Tom had the money in his pocket, ready to pay a deposit we just knew we were going to take it. So we were not mucking around. We didn't have to go and look at 10 skis. We're like, this is it. It's lined up for us. Let's go. So we went down. It was like a couple of days after Riley's party. Went down, looked at the ski, and that was it. We bought it, paid the money, and that was it. And then Tom had to tow the dry dock. So the dry dock's like a massive big floating pontoon. And this guy's house was down like Ephraim Sovereign, one of the islands down, the fancy island down at Paradise Point, Runaway Bay area. And he said to Tom, are you gonna, get a trailer and get the dry dock? And Tom's like, he just doesn't muck around. He goes, no, I'll just tow it. I'll just tow the jetty home, tow the pontoon home. So he's ended up, it took him around 3.5 hours because like the guys looked at Tom going, "You're going to tow it home?" And he said, "Yeah, by the time I dismantle the dry dock, put it on a trailer, drive down, then I have to then drive all the way home, put the dry dock back together," because they're like all little bricks that you kind of floating bricks you all click together, then put it back together at the boat ramp near our house. Then I still have to take the ski, get the ski home somehow. Then I have to, it didn't have a trailer, and we don't need a trailer anyway because we've got a couple. And then I'd have to still come down, get the ski, and then use the ski to float the dry dock, tow it from our boat ramp nearest to us. And he's like, "It's going to be mucking around. It's going to take a long time. I'm just going to have to kind of sit at less than 10 knots the whole way home, but I'll just cruise home towing this pontoon." So anyway, he's gone down and towed the pontoon home. It took a bit longer. He thought maybe 2.5 hours. I think it took around 3 hours 40 because the wind picked up a little bit. And then he gets another funny story. Then he gets really close to our home and he rings me. He says, "Babe," because he had his friend with him towing it back. And he said, "I'm nearly out of petrol," because his friend had to shoot off. He's left and said, "Tom's fine." He's like almost home. And because they skied down together. So our friend and Tom jumped on one ski together, drove down to this guy's house. Tom's jumped on the new ski and they've skied home together with Tom towing this pontoon. His friend had to go. He gets bored easy. And he said, "Tom's fine. I'm going to head off. You can just help him bring the pontoon on when he gets home." I said, "Yeah, that's sweet." So anyway, Tom rings me and says, "Is he still there?" I said, "No, he's actually gone home now." And he said, "Bugger, I'm nearly out of fuel because it took a lot longer to get home and the conditions were a bit rougher. So I've chewed through the fuel. I might make it, but I'm not sure." I've looked out our deck when I'm on the phone to Tom, and there's a neighbor we hadn't met yet. And I said, "I think he's going to go out on his boat. I'm going to run down and I'll say to him, can you take some fuel down to my hubby if you're going to go out? I'll give you some, I'll buy you some beer, whatever." And Tom's like, "Please, no, I don't know this guy. Like, that's a bit rude. You can't ask." I said, "What's the worst thing that can happen?" He can say no, and we make a new friend. So I run down, I have a chat with him. I'm like, "Hi, I'm Lise, I'm your new neighbor." Like, really random question. "Are you heading out on the boat? Would you mind running some fuel down? I got a jerry can, run it down to my hubby. He's the only one out there. You can't miss him, floating a dry dock home." He's like, "Yeah, sure, I'm going that way anyway." We strike up a conversation. Really nice guy, because they kind of come in and out on holidays. They got a holiday home up here. And anyway, so we've made a friend. He's brought the jerry can back, chatted with Tom. We're, catching up on the deck when he come home. So I said, "See, Tom, what's the worst thing that can happen?" They can say no, and I just come up with another solution. Like, I've always had that belief of just have a solution-oriented mindset. So anyway, we get this ski home and it's great. Kids are having fun. We've been, they've been out all weekend. They've had cousins here. It's been Brock's birthday. They've had friends, and they've been going out. Now we've got 3 dry docks and 2 jet skis. And I said to Tom, that third dry dock is waiting for another new ski to come in. So that'll be another story for another episode. But I believe that the third one is waiting because I said to him, I just want to have a few there so that whoever is here can just jump on. And I said, even like we've got the 2 skis, we've got Callum, Riley's boyfriend, that's 5 people. It's too much on 2 skis. So let's get a third one. We can't do it right now. We're not ready to do it right now, but whenever it comes up, it'll come up in another way. And again, I don't want a brand new one. So I am still looking and just keeping my eye out on boat sales for another one to come up that is almost near new, because it can happen, right? And so a couple of things I want to share with you in this whole story is we made space. We got rid of the old one and created space for an empty dry dock for a new one to come in. You have to take action. Like, yes, you can trust. Yes, you can believe. Like I did believe. Like the guy at JSW said, they're so hard to come by. And I'm like, I only need one. I just need 1 ski. That is it. Well, now 2. I do want another one. But at that stage, we just needed 1 more to come in ready for spring for us to go and enjoy this beautiful playground out here. We took action. Yes, you hold the faith. Yes, you believe. But I started taking action, like showing the universe, I'm serious, I'm ready. I started making phone calls, and then everything else just kind of come into place. So yes, you can hold the faith. Yes, you can believe. Yes, you can vision what you want. But when you just start taking some kind of aligned action, your action could be like, you could journal, you could vision on what you want, you could start making inquiries, you follow the breadcrumbs that come along the way. And it was just that random opportunity. I also believe in divine timing. It's that random opportunity that come about when at the right time that because that jet ski sat there, and I said to Tom for a couple of weeks or maybe even months, like, just get rid of it, it'll open up space for a new one. And then all of a sudden something just clicked. We had a service guy come out to service Brock ski, and he got talking to Tom, and he said he'd take the old one for parts, so we sold it to him for parts pretty much. At that time we got rid of it. This new one was ready, waiting for us. So I do believe in divine timing. I do believe in alignment. I do believe in opportunities present themselves when they're ready to. And then it just happened. We got chatting. Because our friend said to Tom at Riley's party, you guys want a new ski, don't you? And it was literally just from that, it led to all of this story unfolding of how this new one come about. And I have so many situations now that I've seen that play out in our life. It's just like when my when my Jeep broke down. I put that in a few episodes ago. Sometimes things can come by choice, and sometimes things can come from out of your control. So we made a choice. Let's get rid of the old ski and make space for a new one to come in. When my car broke down, I was really upset. I wasn't prepared for it. I wasn't ready. I didn't want to spend the money on a new car. Like, all of those things happened, and I had no choice. It was literally, you've got to get rid of it or spend all this money fixing it, which just wasn't feasible. So in that moment, like, I went through the whole funk, if you go back to that episode. And then I knew what I wanted for my next car, and it was on my vision board. I had a Range Rover on there, and I had a picture of the dash. And then again, I started looking, going through all of the car sales again. I knew I didn't want brand new. Like, I didn't even have a garage. It's sitting out in the front yard. So I didn't want brand new. I would fret over it a lot more, but I wanted something near new. I knew I wanted a white one. I knew I wanted a black roof with like the glass roof, because some of them have a white roof. I knew I wanted a black roof with a sunroof. I wanted it all black at the top and all white down the bottom. I'd seen ones with this like gold trim. I knew I wanted gold trim. I knew I wanted tinted windows. I knew I wanted black wheels, like black, what do you call them, mags, wheels, whatever. I knew what I wanted, and we were looking and looking and looking, and there's a beautiful eagle flying overhead as I'm speaking. I knew what I wanted, and so many that I looked at kept coming up with like a grey interior, and I knew I wanted a light or that two-tone interior. And I was chatting with Riley, and Riley goes, Mum, maybe you just have to settle. And I said, no, babe, I only need one. And by me getting rid of my old Jeep, I had no choice. Well, I didn't want to fix it. It made space for a new one to come in, and I only needed one of this one that I had on my vision board. And so I'd held this vision on my board for probably 2 years. I'd had it, and I thought I wanted the bigger one. I thought I wanted the sports because I like them, but I jumped in one, and I've thought to myself, it feels too big because I'm going in a new transition in my life. All my kids have four-wheel drives. My husband's got a four-wheel drive. I don't need a big car anymore. I need a newer, smaller, just a zippier one for me. So I ended up getting one of the Evokes. And the one that I got, the interior and the dash, it's all on my vision board. And I don't know much about cars. I just went, that's a cute car. I'm not too much into the brands or anything. I just see them on the road and go, that's a sexy looking car. I'd like one of them one day. And it sat on my vision board, and at the right time, it opened up. But where I'm going with that story is I was going through a transition in my life where I was letting go of that mothering part of me because my kids were older. And it wasn't until I got into that new car, the smaller car, I realized that if I got in a bigger one, I would fret, I would still feel upset that I'd look in the back and go, there's so much space and I've got no kids in there. It was that time in my life where I needed a smaller one because I'm stepping out of that hands-on mothering role. You're always going to be a mother, but I'm stepping out of that period in my life into this new phase in my life where it's time for me to really focus on my business. It's time for me to do what I want to do. And this car is like, it aligns with this next version of me. So I had to let go of that mother car that carried all of the memories of the past of carrying the kids and their friends as sport. It was like out with that, and I didn't know it at the time until I got the new one. that this just feels so right for this new kind of mum slash the businesswoman version of me, the spiritual leader version of me, the what I'm meant to do with my future version of me. It's like my environment around me changed, the car around me changed, this house lined up at the same time. Again, another story with this house. I'm not going to go into all of it. Go back into previous episodes where Tom left, had a fallout with his previous job just before this house aligned. It was a really challenging time in his life. And I know if he was still in that job, which was high stress, he was run off his feet, we never saw him, he would not have had the capacity for this house to unfold for us, because this house requires a lot of renovations. He's always wanted to do a renovation project. He loves building. We were a really good team with our creativity. And this house aligned as he, a few months earlier, parted ways with the old job, parted ways with a part of him that had been in that stage of his life for a very long time. And he was highly stressed. And here it's almost like out with that old job, even though it was so hard at the time. It tested him, and it brought up a lot of emotion, and it was a very challenging time. But it created space for something new to come in. It created space for him to really invest time into his business that he had been growing. It created space for him to have this project home that we're working on. And I know in my heart and soul, we wouldn't have even looked at this had he been in his old job, because we would have gone, it's too much work. And now that we are here, we're like, our soul is meant to be here. He is so much happier. He's out here fishing. He's a lot calmer. He's not stressed and highly strung. And it is a beautiful transition. Again, out with that old. It created space to bring this whole new opportunity in for us, even when we had to let go of our old house. And again, go back into the old episodes around how we manifested this house. But this house, getting it wasn't easy, because they would not sell it to us until we sold our last one. We're like, we'll give you the money that you want, but we still had to sell our old house until they'd accept our offer. And I'm like, Tom, we can do this. I energetically cut ties. I sage, I release, I journal, I vision. I cut ties with our old house, said thank you for this house. It's been a blessing for bringing up our kids, and went through all of that in that last episode. But now it's time for us to bring in a new stage of our life. I release you. I release energetic ties. I cut cords with our old house. So I let go to bring in the new. Once I did that, within no time at all, we sold our house, we got the contract on this, and it all unfolded. It wasn't easy. Again, it was not easy. Some things can unfold for you effortlessly, and you actually make a choice to create space for something new. Some things can come by force, or like the universe is pushing you in a certain direction, and it's uncomfortable, it's hard, it's challenging. So there are so many different ways that it can come in. I had another example, two more I'll leave you with. When Riley, she finished grade 12 and she didn't know exactly what she wanted to do. And she said, I think I need to take a gap year. And they felt the pressure. The kids feel the pressure of what they have to do, who they have to become, the job they have to take on. And I said to the kids, like, you don't need to know all the answers now. You will change course correction in your life. You will change paths. This is not what you do now. It's not going to be what you do for the rest of your life. So don't put so much pressure on yourself. Riley, I think that's probably a good idea. Have a gap year. She was working at Subway. I said, just work. Like, you're not going to sit on your butt and do nothing. She worked her way up in there. She learned some really great skills. We went on a family trip, cruising the islands, traveling around Bali. And on that trip, she goes, it's time for me to get a grown-up job now. It's time for... I'm done. I've had my gap year. I'm done. She made that decision in her mind. She made it energetically, and she come home, and this new opportunity with the real estate that she's in, which she loves, opened up, and she got that job out of so many people, and she went and did that on her own. But the opportunity, it's like it lined up. She was done with that. She closed the door on school, took the gap year, closed the door on the gap year, said, I'm ready now, made a decision, energetically, spiritually, mentally, and then what she wanted lined up for her, and she's so happy. And this last example, I've got so many examples, but this last one I'll share with you. I was working with a business coach. Loved her, loved everything about it. learned so much from her, but part of me just started to feel like getting on the calls was a bit like, it's not deep enough for me. Like she taught energetics, she taught, like, I loved her because she was aligned spiritually, but I felt to myself, I need a spiritual coach. I just had this feeling, this was all before, go back to the first few episodes in my podcast. My hair was about to start falling out. I was about to get my breast implants removed. I was going through a big shift from ego to soul. I was going through a big awakening in myself. I was going through a transition. A bit of a dark night of the soul was coming up and I didn't know it yet. But at that moment, I thought to myself, I'm just done with the business coach. I'm done with business. I need to work internally for a bit and I need a spiritual coach. I'd made that decision. We go on a holiday to Hamilton Island with my family and we're going out to the Great Barrier Reef, taking the kids snorkeling, and on the way home, I meet Kira on the boat. We both finished our reef tour. We were coming back. And again, have a listen to that story. I had this nudge, you need to talk to that woman. And I struck up a conversation. We got chatting, exchanged socials, become friends. She's become my closest friend outside of my sisters and my daughter. And not just my daughter, my kids and my husband. She's become one of my closest friends. I started working with her as a spiritual coach. She taught me so much. She taught me how to trust in myself. She taught me how to open up my psychic medium ability. She just opened me up to this whole new world and she filled the void of what I was looking for. My soul knew I needed a spiritual coach. I quit with the old one and that was hard. I loved her, absolutely loved her. And then I created space and this new person lands on my lap on a random boat going to the Whitsundays. Well, not to Whitsundays, back from the Great Barrier Reef to Hamilton Island. You can't make this stuff up, and often it's in hindsight where you see it. So you might have feelings now of aha moments of looking back and where you've had opportunities have lined up for you or people have lined up for you where you've created space. And sometimes the decisions are hard. Sometimes it could be letting go of people. It could be letting go of a job that you're attached to, letting go of a house that holds memories, letting go of friendships, of letting go of certain parts of yourself. It can be a really hard thing to do. But if you're getting this urge, if you're getting this nudge, if you're getting this calling, trust that it's coming through to you for a reason and follow the breadcrumbs. Just listen to your heart and soul. Your head, your ego mind, your head will tell you things to keep you safe, but your heart and soul will tell you something different. And it can come up in feelings of being done. Like I know when I had my personal training business, as I got to the end of it and I was starting to do more Pilates with my girls and I was starting to do a lot more of the inner work on myself, I was starting to see that the inner work was the missing piece. I was bringing more mindset stuff in with my PT clients, running more challenges with more mindset. I just had this calling to go, I just want to teach. I just started to feel the mindset, the spiritual was the missing piece for people's transformations. And I knew that I couldn't teach all of that properly for what I wanted to do in my PT container. So I just had this urge. I think I need to step out of what I'm doing in my personal training. And I followed the breadcrumbs. I went on a retreat and I decided to do my yoga teacher training. When I decided to do my yoga teacher training, I thought to myself, I want to open a community for yoga. And that was not on my radar when I felt that I was kind of wrapping up my energetic attachment to my PT business. But I knew I wanted to teach people a lot more of the soul work, the inner work, the mindset work. And then I made the decision, went on retreat, got a little bit clearer on what I wanted. And then I thought, I need to go do my teacher training. So again, I followed the breadcrumb, went and did my yoga teacher training, got back and thought, I really want to get out of working from my home. I want to open a community, but I didn't know how. I didn't know what it looked like. And the space opened up for me where my brother-in-law, he owned the F45 and said they're moving to a new space. It's such a big space. They can't fill it. I want to lease one of the rooms upstairs. And it just fell into my lap at the right time. I cannot make this up. I didn't go looking. And so that's how the angels kind of started to unfold. I jumped on it. I didn't know how to run a studio. I didn't know how to, I have my husband who's great at fitting things out. I didn't know all the answers, but it felt like it lit me up in my soul. Yet I had to come to the difficult terms with, I have to let go of the people I've been training for a long time. I felt so bad. I felt so guilty. And Tom kept saying to me, he said, babe, people will do what's right for them. You have to do what's right for you. People will quit on you as a PT client and not give you a second thought because they have what to do what's right for them. You need to do what's right for you. And he really gave me that nudge. And again, that was a hard crossroad. That was a hard decision because I felt like I let people down. I felt guilty, but my heart was calling me in this new direction. And obviously I did it. And I just found my way. I just followed my heart and soul. I followed the breadcrumbs, and the answers come to me moment to moment. They come to me. I learned so much in that process, but I had to close the door on getting rid of the old. I had to let go of that past version of myself, and it was hard. So you feel that you struggle with feelings of guilt. You feel like you let people down. You feel like you are letting go of people that just don't align with you, or you feel like you're quitting on a job, or you feel like you have a change of direction in your heart and soul. If you don't make space for it by letting go of something old, it is going to be a lot more challenging for you to go into that new path. So sometimes it can come down to some difficult decisions. Sometimes it can come down to a lot of holding the faith. Sometimes it can come down to a lot of trusting in what your heart and soul is telling you and knowing it's for your highest good, even if you don't know all the answers. Get a lot more clear on listening to your soul and listening to your intuition. That's why I say to people, come to yoga, do meditation, get more connected, because it strengthens that muscle of intuition. It's not that I'm trying to sell people on doing yoga. I'm like, when you come into the studio, when you come into this environment, when you come on retreat, when you work on yourself, it helps you with everyday life decisions. It helps you build that strength of intuition. It helps you build that internal muscle of listening to yourself, of knowing what feels good for you in your body and what doesn't feel good for you. It teaches you to trust in the process and follow the breadcrumbs. It teaches you so many amazing things that, girls, it just helps you with your everyday life, with buying houses, with buying jet skis, with letting go of jobs, letting go of people, releasing relationships that maybe don't serve you anymore, that you're stuck. It helps you in every area of your life, and it builds the muscle of confidence. It builds the muscle of strength. It builds the muscle of self-awareness. It builds the muscle of self-love and self-faith and self-belief. And you can find this show up in ways where you've got what I'm talking about is clutter. Like I had this clutter of the old ski that was sitting there not working. It can show up in maybe you've got a cluttered wardrobe, maybe you've got a cluttered house, maybe you need to get rid of some stuff in your actual physical environment, your car, your workspace. It can come through the way of, like I said, friendships, people that don't align with you, that are cluttering, that are kind of holding energetic space and keeping you stuck. It can be as simple as cleaning out your kitchen, like you want to go and start on a new health and wellness journey, but you've got all the clutter. You open the cupboards, you're looking at the rubbish, you're looking at the sugar, you're looking at those old foods. Get rid of them. Get rid of anything that does not serve you anymore, because it's going to open you up for space to bring in the new. It can be like toxic environments, maybe a workspace that you don't know where you need to go, but you're stuck in a job you hate. Maybe you need to, like Riley did, take that bit of a gap year, get something that aligns for your family, maybe with hours, maybe with an environment that is a lot more positive to be in, because you might be around negative people. Get out of that, go into something that feels more peaceful, and then something new will open up for you at the right time. Trust in divine timing, trust in alignment, because things are waiting for you. But if you keep your mind filled, it could be limiting beliefs that you need to declutter. You could have so many limiting beliefs of, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy enough, who would fall in love with me? Like, this is the way I was brought up. Do you sit in that funk? Do you stay there? Or do you go, no, I'm not going to believe that anymore. I'm going to start working on replacing my beliefs. I'm going to start working on myself to get out of those limiting blocks, to get rid of those limiting negative beliefs. But be honest with yourself and ask yourself the question, where am I taking up space in my life? Spring clean. Start with a little thing. Spring clean your home, and then one thing will lead to another. But start with some small things that you know are cluttering you mentally, physically, emotionally, energetically. get rid of them, because you don't know how, but it is going to open you up for new opportunities. It's going to open you up for new space, for new things that come into your life. Like, what if they're better than you ever imagined? What if they're better than you expected? But when you stay stuck in the comfortable, stuck in the familiar, how will you know? So ask yourself the question, where do I need to let go of things in my life that are cluttering me mentally, energetically, spiritually, emotionally, and physically? Sit with it. See what comes up. Maybe write it down. Maybe by listening to this episode, you are knowing the answers. They're just popping into your head. Do you block them? Do you take notice of the answers? Do you listen to them? Do you take some action? And the action could be just making a decision to start to do a little bit of inner work. That's why I love going on retreat, taking girls, whether it can be a day retreat, whether it can be coming to a class, whether it can be a week retreat. It steps you out of the clutter of the rat race. It steps you out of the clutter of people around you all the time. Maybe you need to release people's opinions because they are filling your mind. When you get rid of other people's opinions, what other people expect of you, it opens you up to listen to your own. And that's what we find when we go away on retreat. You're your own soul. When you come to class, you're your own soul. When you go for a day retreat, you're your own soul. When you do the inner work of a mindset of a morning, the mindset, the soul work, or a night, wherever you want to do it, you're listening to your own soul, and it helps you get rid of the clutter, get rid of the distraction, get rid of the worry, the fear, the doubt of other people's opinions, other people's thoughts, other people's beliefs, to create space for your own. You know, I remember hearing somewhere that I can't remember where I heard it. I've heard it a few times, like on a podcast or in a book, and they said, what do you gain from meditation? So it was asking, I can't remember who it was asking, like someone really like a monk, Buddha type person, what do you gain from meditation? And he said, it's not what I gain, it's what I let go of. I let go of stress. I let go of anxiety. I let go of fear. I let go of doubt. I let go of whatever it is. It's not what you gain. You gain in the releasing. You gain in closing old doors behind you to open way for new. You gain in releasing the clutter of your mind, like in meditation, to open yourself up to maybe new ideas, to new opportunities, to new creativity. Why do you think I spend time in spiritual practice every morning? Like when, people might say, I don't have time for that. I'm like, how can you not have time for it? Whenever you do it in the day, I don't care. Whatever works for you and your family. When you have time in solitude, when you have time by yourself, whether it's a meditation, whether it's journaling, whether it's sitting watching a sunrise, whether it is just in bed doing mindful breaths before you go to sleep at night, you create space to bring new opportunities in for creative ideas. You make better decisions that are in alignment. You find more peace in your soul. You find more connection to yourself. You find more awareness, and you feel so much more calm that ripples out into your life. It ripples out into your day. It ripples out into your family. It ripples out into your energy. It ripples out into your attitude. But if you are constantly feeling like, even as I'm talking, stressed, overwhelmed, like you're about to explode, make time for space in your life. It's a must. I'm here to tell you, it is an absolute necessity. You don't have to go and do everything all at once. What's one thing that you can do? Could be just starting to learn how to meditate. Could be starting to get a little bit more grounded and find 10 minutes of just mindful breaths in the morning. Could be going to a yoga class. It could be starting to journal. It could be cleaning out your kitchen. It could be having a spring clean in your home, getting rid of something that is just creating space. Because guys, a lot of it's just stuff. I know when we moved here, we went from a huge house and we come into this little beach house coastal cottage. We got rid of so much stuff. And I said to Tom, well, he's worse than me. We're like, if we haven't used it, if we don't need it, let's get rid of it. We don't need as much stuff. It clutters, and we feel more happier, more calm, more peaceful living in a smaller house with a lot more space. And we're not cluttered with things that we don't need. We didn't need 6 TVs in our last house. We didn't use them. Like, it's stupid. And we get conditioned to, you need more, you need bigger, you need better, you need more. I'm here to tell you, sometimes more is less. More is in releasing, more is in letting go. And let me finish with this. I'm just going to read a little bit from these cards I pulled this morning. There's no coincidence. I pulled these cards when I knew I wanted to come and talk to you about this episode. The first card I pulled was around the past, okay? And it said, Transformation comes with it. It's all around obviously letting go of the past. Transformation comes with a price. And a few things that I've spoke to you about today have come with a price. The price can be making a decision. The price can be taking a risk. The price can be that fear of letting go. Like there's so many different prices that you can pay. It can be big prices, can be little prices. Some of the prices can come in choice and some of the prices can be forced on you because the universe is going, hey, babe, this is where you need to go. I'm helping you get there, but it's hard at the time. The price can be getting uncomfortable, right? Transformation comes with a price. Leaving some of your old self behind isn't easy, but it's necessary to become the one that you have been waiting for. Summon your courage, rise up from the mess, and then beauty and strength will remain within. The next card I pulled, this is telling you a story, right? It's important. The in-between, that in-between phase, like I spoke about, where we got rid of, look, the jet ski is just a simple example, right? Like, it's not like, look at us, we've got a new jet ski. I don't care about that. It's an example of how the energetics work. The in-between, I got rid of the jet ski. We were sitting there with an empty dry dock. Part of me was sitting in the, we want one before spring. I hope we get one before spring. How can we afford to get a new one when we're spending so much money on other things at the moment? Like all of those things go through your mind. So you sit in that in-between phase. And this message, this alignment message is all around you standing in the liminal space between what was and who you are becoming. There are times when you feel stuck between worlds. You're unable to go back to the way things were, but you're afraid to move forward without knowing what you're facing. The indecision can be crippling, but you can't stay forever in the in-between. Make a move. It doesn't matter if you stumble or fall. You can always course correct. But make a move and bring love to the part of you that's afraid and that has lost faith. Get back to love. Get back to gratitude. Hold the faith of where you are going, because what you want to become, it says in here, now is the time to understand the responsibility required of you. You have to take, it's like I was talking about co-creation with the universe. You take action. You know what you want, you hold the vision, but you have to take some kind of aligned action as well. It's time for you to understand the responsibilities required of you as you move forward into a new version of yourself that is yet unformed. What do you want to become? What kind of life are you prepared to live? And how wisely are you prepared to yield the power to co-create a new world with the universe? The next card I pulled, and I'm like, thank you. Like, these cards are freaking great with what I'm about to share in my episode. Thank you. Some cards I pulled, I don't pull cards every day. It might seem like I do because when I'm on a podcast, I share with you the ones that I had pulled, but I don't do it every day, but I do it when I feel called to. So this card, Divine Wisdom. This card talks about belief. It reminds you of the spiritual aspect and the invisible aspect of the essence of your desires and them coming into form. Human wisdom comes from personal experience, but divine wisdom is unknown. It is so hard to hold the faith. It's uncomfortable. But like I said, in a lot of these different examples that I used and I shared with you, and just the wind's picking up, I'm tucking these cards under here so they don't fly away. Trust in a higher power. Trust in the whispers of your intuition. Trust in this divine that knows what you need, and even though it might feel uncomfortable when you ask for help, so ask for help. I said to God, Source, Universe, help me find a ski. I only need one in so many of these situations. When I needed to get rid of the business coach, I'm like, just help me find someone that I need to work with. And I trusted the right person will come up. So trust, ask for help, ask for this guidance from Source that is greater than you, and it's a greater unknowable mystery. When we receive it, it can affect us in ways beyond our comprehension. The last card I pulled was Assurance. And this one says, she gives birth to magic, the fulfillment of your desires and the fruition of your dreams, whatever it is you're inquiring about. She, Danu's her name on this card, this goddess, it's all the goddess deck, gives you reassurance, assurance that you're in the process of becoming. Now is the time to trust in what you have planted, trust in what you've planted, what you've planted, and what is planned and worked out is going to be lovingly birthed for you. All you need to do is follow the flow of events and be ready for your next opportunity. Like I had this nudge, Tom, get rid of the ski. We had our friends at the party who said, actually, you are looking for a ski. We just went, this looks great, followed the hunch. We put the money in our pocket and went to look at it. We just knew that this was going to be the right one for us. So the flow of events led us to what we want it. And what I visioned was me, Tom, the kids exploring this playground, exploring out here, bigger visions of what I've got moving forward. Hold the vision, hold the faith, know that you don't know the how, you don't know what is coming, but trust that it's being lovingly birthed, and trust that all you have to do is stay in the flow of events and be ready. Be ready for your new opportunity. Everything has a season. There are days that you wonder if you're on the right track, if your dreams are valid, if you have what it takes to show up and shine. You may hit a dry spell where it appears like nothing is happening and it makes you doubt everything. Absolutely. I've had so many of them. I'm sitting in one at the moment. But this earth goddess appears to remind you of the promise of new life, remind you that the dry spell is your preparation time, like getting rid of that ski, the preparation time. The dry spell is not having one, it was just waiting for this new one to come in. And under the ground of visible life, what we see with our eyes, lies a stream of abundance that is feeding the roots, the seedlings of your intentions that you've planted with your field of dreams. Go about your day-to-day life. So don't look and wait and just go about your day-to-day life, doing things that fill your cup up, doing things that make you feel good, doing the spiritual rituals, spending time with your family, doing things that eat well, nourish yourself, take care of yourself, doing those things, and just trust that the opportunity is just going to land in your lap. This goddess assures you that from the form of your desires, they will show up in divine timing in an even more magical way that you could imagine. I didn't realize we were going to get, with this price of a new ski, a whole dry dock. This is epic. Like, this has created space for another new one to come in so that we can have more people come and enjoy this experience out on the water with us. So that is all you need to do. I've told you everything I need to share with you. Follow those cards that I had here. Release the path. Sit in the in-between. Hold faith in divine wisdom and be assured that what you want is going to come to you, but you don't need to know the how. You don't need to know what way it's going to come up. You don't need to know when. What if it comes sooner than what you had imagined? What you can do right now is create space, out with the old, in with the new. So where do you need to create space in your life? I'm going to leave that with you. Journal on it, reflect on it, sit in it, and just vision what you want in your life, because there's so much power. There's magical power in visioning in this unseen world that you can't see. This spiritual world is working for you all the time, my friends. I hope that has helped. I hope you enjoyed that episode. I'm going to go for my walk now, because I've got some more things that have been coming to me that I just want to walk and dream about, and I use my space for walking to dream about what's coming on in my world, and it's going to come in your world too. Have the most beautiful day, my friends. So much love to you, and I will speak to you soon. Bye. Mwah.